The mountain state is full of monsters, none of which are more famous than the Mothman of Point Pleasant. It all started November 12, 1966, with a town over in Glendinning. Gravediggers were working late into the night as they saw a large form take off from a thicket of trees. They swore it wasn't just a big bird. It looked like a man with wings. After that, the Mothman was seen numerous times at different places throughout West Virginia. Most of the sightings seem to occur in and around an old munitions factory called the West Virginia Ordnance Works, or as the locals called it, the TNT. The TNT area was overgrown and dotted with storage buildings made of concrete and dozens of abandoned tunnels. It was also in the 1970s said to be so polluted that it could be labeled a disaster site. This actually ties in with the local legend as to what the Mothman's origins are. Some people believe that the Mothman was actually a bird mutated by the chemical runoff from the plant. Now, this theory doesn't really hold much water since no chemical used in the creation of gunpowder has been known to cause genetic mutations, and not one that could be so rapidly onset. However, there are those who believe that to this day. It was in the TNT area that the closest look anyone has ever had of the Mothman happened. On November 15, 1966, 4 friends, Roger, Linda Scarberry, Steve, and Mary Millette, had no idea that what they would come across that night would haunt them for the rest of their lives. As accounts go, it was Linda who spotted the creature first. She saw a pair of glowing red eyes further up the road. When the headlights washed over the creature, they all stared in shock. Over 7 feet tall, it stood on 2 legs. Its body was covered in a gray-brown hide, its wings folded. Many who have claimed to see the Mothman state that it makes them feel overwhelmed, as if it gives off a sort of malevolent force. Some even become sick from it, the illness lasting several days. They turned their car and sped away, and they panicked as the monster gave chase. It rose up into the air with a 10 to 15 foot wingspan and followed right along with the car, which was supposedly going 100 miles an hour. After that, there were dozens of sightings, even a few encounters of the Men in Black. Everything seemed to come to a head with the collapse of the Silver Bridge, though. On December 15, 1967, the suspension bridge collapsed and killed 46 people. Many claim to have seen the Mothman flying over the bridge just before it collapsed. After the tragedy, the sightings mysteriously stopped. There's been a photo circulating around this case for years, which at first glance adds some credence to the Mothman being at the scene of the bridge itself, but on closer inspection, it's just another part of the bridge. Now, there have been tons of theories as to what the Mothman actually is. A sandhill crane, an owl. However, it seems a little hard to confuse an owl with a 7-foot-tall human-like creature. There is, however, another odd connection between West Virginia's Mothman and that of Cornwall, England's Owlman, which was seen in 1976. The two sound nearly identical in terms of appearance, and with the time frames so close together, it wouldn't be a stretch to think that they might be one and the same. The fact that they're seen so far apart could play into the idea of migration. Something that did stand out to me was the long-held belief by people in and around Point Pleasant that the area suffers from a curse. Legend has it that a Native American chief called Cornstalk was murdered near where the town stands today. He was killed along with his children in an act of betrayal and cursed the land. My take on the Mothman is one of hope. The creature itself ended up breathing life back into the town of Point Pleasant after the book The Mothman Prophecies and the movie by the same name came out. The little town used the monster to put itself on the map and have become a mecca in the cryptozoological scene. While sightings have all but died out, in one town at least, the hope that something is out there is still strong.